So,
what's going on, Alberto?
We are finally on video. It's been forever since we've been talking about having video on here.
Is this episode 6?
7.
7, okay.
Yeah.
Look at that, how much I know.
I mean, I had to go and count too, actually, to be honest.
We haven't done one in like 4 or 5 months, right?
I don't think it's been quite that long. Maybe like 3 months.
Okay. So what are we going to talk about today?
And so I first wanted to kind of like just do a check-in. How you been, dude?
I've been good. Reiki's going okay. Got the old Reiki business, limitlessreiki.com. Trying to make it a more of a global situation where I can just reach out to anybody in the globe. So I have ways of doing that on my website, limitlessreiki.com. You can just go in there and you can purchase what you want as far as a distance Reiki session or a close one or an in-person one. So there's options.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. I'm getting into the 21st century.
Yeah, man. That's good stuff.
Yeah. How about you, man? How you been?
I've been great. I've been really at peace the past couple of weeks, maybe like a month and a half, and I've been happy. So I've been good.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So we were in the pre-call. We were talking about some stuff. You want to segue into that?
Yeah, man.
Right.
The first thing I was going to talk about today is that I was having a conversation with somebody today, and we got into a conversation about like mental health and mystical experiences. And I was thinking, like, this the chemistry behind psychosis in the brain the same or similar to like the same chemistry in a mystical experience? Like, what do you think?
I think that's dead on, man. Like every time I've been manic, I've been noticing synchronicities like almost instantaneously all the time.
Yeah.
So I would imagine a mystical experience is the same thing. And it's just interpreted differently by the world, by people.
Yeah. I think it kind of brings an interesting perspective though, because if there's something going on in the brain chemically when somebody's having a mystical experience and something similar when somebody's having a psychosis, like, you could argue that the mystical experience is brain, it comes from the brain, but I kind of think like it's channeled into the brain, and what you see in this reality is the actual like lighting up of whatever brain systems or chemistry that you see in like a scan. So so the first question is, I do really think that the chemistry is probably really similar.
Yeah.
The one thing I did say was like, is like, is psychosis more of a distortion of that mystical experience kind of thing? Like, is something about it just not quite right? It's more destructive than actually like a meaningful, healthy mystical experience?
I interpret it as like psychosis as you're going from like 0 to 150 in like 4 hours.
Yeah.
That would be like 4 hours of losing sleep probably. So how can I explain this in a way that I think it's mystical? I really do. I mean, you know this, that if you have like a psychotic experience and you live in like the Amazon jungle, you become the village healer, the tribal leader or whatever. Right. And then over here, we just get thrown in the hospital. They throw a bunch of medication at us, and then we're supposed to recover, after that. And it's like, what am I recovering from? Why can't I stay in that state of mind where I think another thing is, if the more it happens to you, like I've had maybe 8 manic episodes my whole life, or maybe 11, I don't know. But I've been hospitalized 11 times for stuff like that, depression and mania. But I think the more it happens to you, the more you're apt to ride it out and be able to kind of control your mind and your body when you've experienced it a bunch of times, because now you know, oh, this is what it feels like.
Mm.
I know how it feels, and I know how to possibly ride it out. I haven't been able to do that, obviously, because I always end up in the hospital because everybody around me starts figuring it out. But
Right.
my goal is to have another episode and nobody's able to tell but me. That's what I've told a lot of people, and that's kind of controversial or whatever, but that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. There was a time where I found this. I was reading up a bunch of like alternative ideas on bipolar disorder, and I saw this book on Amazon called The Bipolar Advantage.
Okay.
And I think I didn't buy it because I was like, man, like I'm not paying $20 for that, but because it makes sense just off the title. You're like, oh yeah, you can at some level use mania as a driver for whatever goals you're experiencing or trying to go for. But at what point do you like say like I'm losing control?
Yeah, that's usually the people around you will notice that, and then they'll suggest you go to the hospital, and then you end up at the hospital, and you're still having a good time in the hospital, because you're around your peers,
Yeah.
people that understand you, and then you're around counselors and other people in the field, and it's just I don't know. I've had some bad experiences at hospitals, and I've had mostly good ones, but my state of mind is always usually, I'm still coming off that mania, and sometimes it's still ramping up, and maybe it might be ramping down after a couple of days being in the hospital, but it's always a good vibe, I think. Yeah, even though people like to label it as psychosis or mania as being bad, I don't necessarily think those things are bad. I think it's like the bipolar advantage, like you're talking about.
I think part of it's definitely destructive to yourself and other people. I think the part that we want to like really capitalize on is the part that actually we can benefit from, rather than like it's like a stream of water. Like you're running a river, you're trying to capture the river, and not all of it's gonna get in your bucket. If that makes sense, some of it's just gonna overflow and flood the crops and flood your whole area. But I think that the question here is like, how do we make the bucket bigger, or how do we like funnel the water in a better way? But water being the mania, the river of energy that we're experiencing.
I think you need a mentor, somebody like that's how it would happen in the Amazon jungle or whatever. You would have the current elder or the village healer mentor you along during the psychosis process. I think we need to adapt that thing in America and have like a mentor that you can call upon that has been there and done that and knows what it's like, and maybe help you ride it out without going to the hospital. Or maybe it's somebody that's at the hospital who's there to specifically mentor the folks that are having manic experiences, and that's why they ended up there. And then this person can also be working with medication through the doctor. I'm not saying they're going to go there and replace medication. I'm saying they should all work in conjunction with that mentor type person.
Yeah.
To help ride it out and make it a positive experience rather than something you want to avoid the rest of your life. Because sometimes it's unavoidable regardless. But I just think in America, they demonize mental health conditions, and notice I said mental health conditions. I didn't say mental illness, because
Right.
I think a condition you can recover from, an illness you can also recover from, but it just has this connotation. I don't like the mental illness connotation, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I could see that. It implies there's something wrong with you.
Yeah. Or a mental health challenge, even that. The challenge you can use is something you can overcome and something you can step over, or.
I think that what you're getting at is that you can view a mood disorder like a neurodiversity kind of thing. Like some people view autism or ADHD as like not necessarily broken, but just different and think differently. And it makes like a diverse kind of idea of what a brain or personality or behavior can be.
Yeah.
But I think I mean, we have to account for it too, that people like us can lose control at the same time, you know? So like we can't deny that it can just be destructive to ourselves and our people or environment. So it's more of a question of like, can something like that be harnessed?
I think it can be. Yeah, with the right handler type person, I think it's very possible. Someone's blowing up a raft over here. I don't know if you can hear that.
I wonder just like a Buddhist practice of some sort of other like meditation that people can do.
Mm-hmm.
Like they can use to like learn how to control that kind of current of energy. Does that make sense?
I think going in nature helps out a lot to dispel some of the bad. I don't even know if you'd call it bad energy, but some of maybe the extra stuff that's getting you in trouble. Maybe just going out into the forest or some trees close to your house or a park or something, and just kind of grounding in your bare feet on the grass. Maybe sit next to a tree, stuff like that. I think that would dispel some of the maybe negative aspects of a manic episode. I've never tried. I don't think I've ever tried that yet, but I certainly would if it happened again. And if history is correct, I'm probably due, probably overdue for one, because I get them like every 3 years, it seems like, and I had the last one in 2022. So, yeah.
Knock on wood. Hopefully it doesn't happen. You know, maybe let's get a buy on this, this tournament.
I don't mind it, man. I don't mind going if that's the right hospital and the right environment. I don't mind having a whatever breakdown you want to call it, whatever negative connotation people want to throw at it. But it's always been something I've tried to handle and tried to steer out of. Like it's like going into a skid or you're going off the road. You got to steer into it to steer out of it. So I think that's what we try to do with a manic episode is you got to steer into it, like accept it. This is happening. I can't necessarily stop it on my own, but I can sort of navigate my way out of it if I steer into it and accept it for what it is, you know?
Yeah. Would you say that the depression part of bipolar is kind of like a depletion of the mania, if that makes sense? Like an inverse of it?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like if you have a current of water that's energy of the mania, like the river running dry is depression kind of thing.
Yeah. It's like a depressive episode usually always follows a manic episode for me.
Yeah.
Which sucks because you're coming down, then you're coming down, you're still coming down, and then you're into the negative aspects of depression and everything, and it's hard to sometimes bounce back to a flat line, if you will, because your medication usually makes you flat. So what's that?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say that's something I don't like about the medication is it makes you not only are you not like experiencing extreme joy, but you're not experiencing extreme depression. And I don't like feeling that way, but I take my medication every day religiously. So
yeah,
I don't know. I want to fit in with the normies.
Yeah, it's helpful to be able to hold on a job and do kind of like meaningful stuff. This is kind of like an extreme kind of mode of consciousness. Does that make sense? And I think living in that extreme mode of consciousness 24/7 is probably not really good.
Like being manic like 24/7
for like the rest of your life, it probably will not get much done, you know.
I wouldn't mind it if I could just do it without anybody saying, "Hey, Mark, you're manic." You know,
yeah.
If I could get through life and sleep 6 hours a night or whatever the minimum is. Right now, I probably sleep like 9 hours a night, so it's probably excessive. But I take medication to help sleep, so that's just the way it is right now. But hopefully, I know other people that have done like documentaries on bipolar disorder that have gotten off their medication through like yoga practice or breathing techniques or just changing their whole lifestyle, their diet, and what they're exposed to work wise or non work wise. But it's possible, and if the people around you are supportive, like family and friends, then I'd say go for it, man. Try to wean yourself off of that stuff.
I think being in that position when you have the support to be able to do something like that, it's extremely privileged, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I agree. It's rare.
I think people that suffer with mental illnesses sometimes come from family systems that are not the healthiest, and it's part of why we're this way to begin with. I think so. To be able to have a family that supports you and loves you and wants to see you like do better, and then they're like, "Hey, you're like, hey, I want to get off medicine because I want to try this type of healing modality or way of wellness that it's more holistic and natural." And they're like, "Yeah," and you work with a doctor that helps you.
Yeah.
That's extremely rare situation, and I've heard of it too. Don't get me wrong; like I've had people tell me about it, like clinicians tell me like this is actually a thing, but
People getting off the medicine.
To have the conditions to make that happen they have to be extremely rare for sure.
Yeah, you got to be really good with your practice too, like exercising every day or just about every other day, and getting those endorphins and those positive vibes from exercise. You got to at least do that, and then you got to sleep every night, 8 hours or whatever. And yeah, if you can maintain that and keep a job or whatever else you're into, more power to you. So I hope I get there someday, but I've been on medicine since 2005. So that's 20 years taking different meds.
I've been on it since 96.
Okay. So I started my mental health voyage in 94, but the medicine was never, they thought I was like cured of bipolar disorder. Like after I had another episode in 95, summer of 95. And then like, I think I was on Benadryl if I felt like I was getting manic.
It's so random.
Over the counter Benadryl. But I ended up maintaining like no mania from 95 to 2005. So I was like medicine free for 10 years and didn't have any. I had some hypomania probably looking back. Like I used to drive. One time I drove 19 hours from straight without taking a rest, other than like bathroom breaks and food and gas. That's kind of excessive now that I'm looking back on it, but I mean, whatever. Hypomania is probably a good place to be mentally, because I mean, you've experienced that, right?
It's not the greatest.
Not the greatest
because usually like people like if I have bipolar too, so like a lot of the time it's mixed with depression. You have a mixed episode, and you get really angry and really kind of potentially violent, and it's not a good place to be. Yeah. So sometimes, like a lot of time for me, like hypomania is mixed with depression, and it's just a thunderstorm, electrical storm of craziness, unfortunately.
Do you think the irritability that comes with a manic situation is because everyone around you isn't at your level of spirituality or not at your level of thought processes, because everyone else is kind of not manic around you, and then you're manic and everybody's pointing the finger at you? But every time I've been manic, I've always thought like this is how it should be, and everybody else should be on the same page as well. But that would take time for everyone to calm down and reach like a level of where you could be organized with your thoughts and everything. But I don't know if I'm making any sense, but it just seems like the insane is sane and the sane is insane. Or wait, yeah, that's how it's
definitely right. not on the same wavelength for sure.
No, not at all. And I think that's why you have like some people that work in the mental health field at these hospitals. They kind of are like bummers, or the medical techs. Sometimes they can be like a bummer because they're not in your state of mind, or you're not in the state of mind as the other patients are. Like everyone's they're trying to, I don't know, be a little power control-y or whatever. And it kind of makes you very irritable very quickly. And things can ramp up very quickly when you have like a technician, a mental health technician that is ramping you up and using power to make you irritable. I mean, they know how to press buttons sometimes, unfortunately. So but most of them are good. Yeah, I'm not saying they're all bad,
Yeah,
but
the bad apples make the rest of the bunch rotten,
yeah,
kind of thing.
I'm sure everyone that watches this podcast or listens to it that has a mental health condition can relate with what I'm saying, which is that, you know, not everybody in the mental health field should be in that field.
Yeah, for sure. This reminds me of something that happened to me the other day. I was giving a speech about my recovery story,
Okay.
and like I remember thinking like and telling the people that I was talking to, like, you know, to me talking about recovery story is like talking about like, oh, I had like diabetes as a child and I did this, and it's very menial to me. Like it's something that I just like do because I've lived with it my whole life, and I just don't really think about it too much other than just following up with my doctor's appointments and being religious about my medication. But like it doesn't always land that way with people, you know?
Yeah.
Like you talk about your mental health, sometimes people will be like, oh man, this guy's not reliable, this guy is a loose cannon. And I think it made me think about like being more careful about sharing my recovery story, not necessarily if, but more so how I share it and how much I share of it to people. Kind of
Yeah.
like I need to know, like, do you need to know my whole story detail for detail, or can I focus in on the parts that I know would help you, kind of thing?
Yeah. It's good to only share what's helpful and what's, like, I don't know. It's like you're being a mentor to somebody, kind of thing, mentorship of some sort.
For me, it's always troublesome talking more to clinicians about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But
Because
they
sometimes
also got in the field for a reason, though. All of them, I think, can resonate with that statement.
it depends on who they are and what their role is. Sometimes some
Yeah.
nurses don't. Some nurses don't really have the training that would indicate that they would understand. You know,
Oh, yeah, I agree.
it depends on their role and what they do and how much they need to know ultimately.
Yeah. To be a good nurse, RN, LPN, whatever, in the mental health field, I think you got to be patient, number one. You got to be understanding, number two. And I think those two things alone, if you can dial in with those two things, you're doing pretty well. And just watch, you
Yeah,
know, don't escalate the patients.
right.
Simple as that, you know, be understanding, be thoughtful. And those things carry a lot of weight when you're in that arena.
Big time.
Yeah.
Sick people go to nurses and they're in a vulnerable place, and to have to deal with somebody as rude and inconsiderate when you're in that state of being that you're like ill or you're not feeling well and you have to deal with a rude nurse or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
it's really rough, man. It's something else.
Yeah. I've gotten in tussles with like the technicians, but I think I told that story a long time ago about the guy that was kind of making me upset about, like, he was coming into work and putting the TV on the channel that he wanted to watch.
Oh
And
yeah.
we're the patients. We should be able to pick the channel we want to watch. And then he would sit there and read the newspaper,
Oh man.
and it was just like all about him. And I'm like, dude, you know, and then we got into a tussle because I was like sick of seeing that every day.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got pinned to the ground and he slammed my head to the ground, even though I was already on the ground. I couldn't move and my head was up and he slammed my head back. And yeah, it's just really, I don't know. It's kind of a crappy thing to happen to a person.
Yeah.
It didn't need to get that far, because if he would have been more understanding, more thoughtful in the beginning about not, you know, making it about him, not turning the TV station to what he wanted, I mean, that would have been like, that would have never happened.
Yeah.
And I was so sick of that hospital that I actually went to the ER after the head injury and tried to, like, I thought if I checked into the ER and regular ER, you know, regular hospital, I would be able to exit the hospital after they dealt with my head injury. And that wasn't the case. I had to go right back to the you know, the psych area. So
Right.
that sucked, but
Yeah.
got through it.
Hey man, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
On your name for this call, it says Cleveland Proper Man.
Oh, it does?
Did you want to tell us about Cleveland Proper Man?
Yeah, it's my alter ego. It's a creation that I started a couple years ago, I think. now. He's a location-specific superhero, and his powers only work in Cleveland proper. But so far, you never catch him in Cleveland proper doing any actual superhero work yet. I don't know if it's going to happen in the future, but we got 3 episodes done. The 4th episode is in the can, but it's not. I don't think it's been edited yet. So yeah, if people want to check it out, it's on Cleveland Proper Man on YouTube.
I'll put it in the description.
All right, cool, man. Thank you.
And it's been a pleasure. I can't believe you actually got to like do a video type of reading podcast.
Is it going to be like a split screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I didn't know how that was going to work.
You know, it'll work out just fine. And
Nice.
it should show up our transcription too.
Okay, thanks for all your technical abilities, dude.
Yeah,
I don't think I could do any of this without you.
Likewise.
Yeah.